And we're live. We're here on Always Almost There day after show. And we're here in Philly. We have two incredibly special guests, Micah Akin and Michael Silverstone. And we're here with Danny.
What up?
Thanks for being on. And it's a special episode because we have no Ryan Storm. So we can just absolutely drag Ryan's name through the mud throughout this whole entire podcast.
It's perfect. He's not doing anything important right now either, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that whatever, we won't go into that. But in any case, so we were at the show last night. I was at the show. Micah and Michael, you guys were at the show as well. Daniel, you were on the couch last night.
Yep.
So
taking it in.
Let's dive right in and talk about the experience. How was it getting in for you guys last night?
It was good. It was easy. We got there probably I don't know.
A little bit, around 7.
7-ish?
Yeah. We knew the start time was pretty late for this one, but yeah, getting in was pretty easy.
I will say the entire venue smelling like popcorn was a major plus.
You could smell it from like a block away, honestly. Like I thought we were in a movie theater or something.
Was it good popcorn?
It was. I ate popcorn for breakfast this morning.
Yeah, we brought some home. It was $9.
Do you still have any?
No, it's gone.
I saw the box on Twitter this morning. The boxes were enormous, Daniel. Like they were like.
Oh, it was like the square ones. Yeah. Yeah.
$9, really good value honestly for it.
Hey,
I would recommend
similar experience. I just walked right into the venue myself, which is a very stark contrast to what Boston was the night before. I'm assuming, Micah, when you were in Boston, you had some kind of alternate entrance.
Yeah, there was another entrance around the corner.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it was like a almost half-mile line, and I ended up missing 2 songs in Boston. So last night was actually pretty refreshing. I just walked right into the venue.
Yeah.
It wasn't even
That's sweet. What time did you get there, Neil?
I don't know what time we actually eventually got there. We met up with a bunch of folks. Actually, a whole bunch of Twitter folks showed up at this brewery, which I think we're gonna go back there today. This place, Triple Bottom, and RJ from Osiris was there, and a whole bunch of other folks. And we just we had planned to start working our way in at doors, but I think we didn't get there till 7:30.
And it was at 8:30ish, 8:30 start-ish. 8:40 probably.
Yeah, I have no idea what the actual start time was. It's I have no concept of time when it's when I'm actually at the show. So,
and when your phone's dead.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
There was a running joke. Oh yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Well, no, I was gonna say for those that didn't, we were at the Met, which is it short for the Metropolitan in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be an opera house when it first opened, so I think it
was.
Okay,
old school theater vibe. I kind of
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm imagining kind of Radio City, walk in and bigger sort of space with entrances. And
the entrance isn't Radio City, but once you get inside.
The entrance at the lobby at Radio City is dramatic. Yeah. I was floored at that space. Yeah.
Yeah, this was not that, but the inside was stunning.
Yeah, the
it's
room
not
looks
nearly
really
opulent,
cool,
I guess, but it was nice. I mean,
but
it's probably the coolest venue I've seen Goose in ever.
Well, the room was really sweet on camera.
Well, we were talking with
other than
I was gonna say we were talking with Lewis. Shout out him. He was working the area that our seats were at, and he was kind of giving us a rundown of the history of the place. So it started as an opera house. That's why it's called the Met for Metropolitan Opera. I think it eventually transitioned to becoming a church and then fell into disrepair in the 90s. And then it closed. It kind of sat there abandoned for quite some time. And then I think it was repurchased 10 years ago and then reopened in 2018.
Oh, okay. Kind of these bigger pushes of shows lately. That makes sense. Did Fish play there in 2018? Was that when it was?
19, I think.
19, yeah, 19, yeah.
They did. We were talking about that last night, and I was like,
"That was the tiny show."
Relying on memory.
And that was the serious show, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
okay.
It was the serious show.
Amazing.
Anyways,
right, so let's talk about Goose music. How about that? And actually, we've got like some pretty good stuff to talk about. I mean, we're 5 minutes into this episode, and we've been holding off talking about a lot of really good music. There's definitely one jam I think that everybody really, really wants to talk about. And well, here you go. Vicar says he just got here. Can you start from the beginning? And like, absolutely, we can, because that's where we're at. So, first set, first song, Rockdale. And I think we'll just leave it at that one and talk about that for a minute. This Rockdale went to a whole mess of spaces. And, you know, as far as Rockdales go, there's only been 3 over 20 minutes long. And then the other 2 Rockdales in that conversation are pretty serious pieces of music. And this one's killer. And I can't wait to get more listens under my belt. But I had to listen to another jam from the show a few times this morning, so I didn't get a chance. Michael, what do you think?
I mean, I kind of forgot about it after that other jam. But I love a Rockdale opener.
Were the other 20-minute ones obviously Cleveland, and was the Capitol Theater? Was that one of them?
It was Cleveland and
Nashville.
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 Yeah, Nashville.
Yeah, but I was what was that?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that like last night, like it really seems like obviously you have the Cleveland Rockdale about a year ago, but it seems like they really are taking it in all these new exploratory directions, and I have a feeling it's not the last time we're gonna go deep with that one. I think we could possibly surpass the Cleveland one. Hot take, but I think sometime this year. I think it's the year of the Rockdale is my prediction.
It's back. I felt like 2021 was kind of the year of Rockdale too. I mean, as it came around, but I think the song, like you guys are saying, has evolved so much. I feel like on listen, I was sort of, it sounded like they were very loose, but it was a little like sort of just like patient, kind of very bouncy groove to start, and then kind of just like took a turn and found a bigger peak. I felt like the first 10, 12 minutes, they were kind of feeling each other out, nothing too crazy. And then the back end, just kept pushing.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot for like at least the past couple of times we've recorded. And I think something that we're seeing, we talked about this a lot yesterday too, is like they're just being patient with jams. Like they're not rushing in. They're not trying to have like big dramatic things happening. So what we've seen a couple times so far, we definitely saw this in Boston, is they kind of find a space and then let something build out of that space. And I feel like that's what happened in this Rockdale. Like they knew they wanted to jam it and they weren't going to give up until they found something cool. And, that's what happened here. It was like, there was like this, the section where they were just waiting to find where they were. And then it was just like peaks and peaks and peaks. So I thought it was pretty great.
Trevor.
All right.
Trevor standing out again.
Yeah, I mean, we can't say enough about him. Like, I don't know what has happened with Trevor, but you can't help but notice him now. I feel like
it's
for as long as I've been seeing this band.
Yeah, I agree.
The backwards hat for the last 2 nights is also the throwback to like 2019, 2020. He stopped wearing that hat.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. But for as long as I've been seeing this band, like, you always notice Trevor, but he doesn't like grab your attention like all the time. But like past 2 shows, just like a few times, I'm like, oh my God. Like, so he's definitely standing out quite a bit.
Even the Capitol Theater shows.
Arcadia,
for sure.
Yeah, his sound, I feel like he's louder almost in the mix right now, which is great. I think he's much more present on the audio for me, like having listened to the last few shows and not seeing Cap, not seeing these. So.
Right. And you're seeing a lot of solos in places where solos haven't been, right? So Michael, you were talking about that Arcadia and that bass solo, also at the Cap, that Jive 2 bass solo, same kind of deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like just in places where you're not expecting it, and they just sound so awesome.
Amen.
So, all right. So next, actually, I don't know how I want to chop this up, but next songs, I guess, are Atlas Dogs and Love is a Battlefield. And this was like really, really interesting because this Atlas Dogs was starting to charge up and sound like it was going to be like one of the old Atlas Dogs jams that we were getting when the song first started getting played. like the tempo just kept picking up at the end of the song, and I was like, oh, like here we go, we're finally gonna get that like Atlas Dogs jam that we've been waiting for so long. And then we kind of like landed in Love Is a Battlefield, which I think is the third time that's ever been played. But it was still cool and definitely got a rise out of the crowd. But what did you guys think?
I was very happy when I saw Love Is a Battlefield on the set list.
Ooh, she knew. Nice.
You got inside information on the set list, and I specifically walked away. So did Ryan. We walked away because we did not want to see you and Sam reviewing the set list. So
oh, she like actually had the set list?
Yeah.
See, now
it's always tough. That's a tough experience.
Like, yeah, we can't believe you.
Seeing the set list before is always hard. It's always hard to like see it because I'm like, like a minute.
If anyone is watching this that just heard me say I saw the set list, I didn't see the set list.
Yeah, you're just
never seen the set list. Never.
When I was at Terminal 5, I was like right in the front row, and this was, I think, the second night, and I could see the set list like right in front of me, and like I was resisting the urge to look at it, and then I finally did, and then I was like, oh man, like the whole second set, I like knew it was coming, or like it just wasn't good. It didn't help. It was like opening like your presents before
I usually so it works out.
Did that Terminal 5 set list have the third set like on it when they caught your eye?
Oh no, so this was definitely the first night. It was the first night because like no, there was no third set because I was not aware of that third set. Mm-hmm. I've talked about this a lot. That night I was pacing myself according to being at a 2-set show, and then there was that third set and it was a total debacle because I was ready for bed when the third set started. But we all toughed it out. Were you both there at that one?
Yeah.
Were you there?
My first shows in person, were those two Terminal 5 shows.
Oh, nice, yeah. Yeah,
that's quite the introduction to Goose.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like everyone, like through COVID, like watching the streams. I think the South Farm shows in 2020 were the first ones I actually like caught on.
And like for the
YouTube.
record, all of this was before we were dating.
Yeah.
So.
This was,
oh, nice. Yeah, there you go.
You just happened to already be a fan, which worked out nicely.
But it was great, to finally see them when they came over to New York at Terminal 5.
Yeah, it was still probably the drunkest crowd I have ever seen. Was that second night? It was just bananas. It was total mayhem. All right, so diving back into the music, we get another version of Everything Must Go, Old Man's Boat, and then finish with an incredibly strong Thatch. And this is, Everything Must Go is one of my favorite new songs. I think it gets better every time they play it. Last night, no exception, was incredible. Old Man's Boat, I was kind of stuck in a crowd in the pit. So normally I have a thing like with Old Man's Boat. When they start playing Old Man's Boat, it's a race to go hit the bathroom and then come back before they start the jam section of Old Man's Boat. But I couldn't do that this time. I had to wait it out. But I'm glad that I did because I actually really, really enjoyed this Old Man's Boat. It's not that I don't like the song. It's just like a thing that like I got to do. And then of course that followed.
You just start to time it, Neil. You just got to time the purr break.
Yeah, I mean you have to. I was gonna do like a whole thing, like where like I did this at the Capitol Theater. I talked about like the Capitol Theater men's room, which is an amazing place. Michael, have you been to the men's room at the Capitol Theater? Yes.
I remember the urinals were close, but
they were like the closest urinals I've ever seen, where you would have to like stand sideways and be in contact with somebody if like somebody was at all of them. So I was going to do the same thing for the Met, which had a much more comfortable men's room. I'll say that.
Those are some nice
so,
too, like marble, like sink tops, like that whole venue is just seriously stunning.
Yeah, it felt like super fancy, like everywhere I went. And then, I guess the other thing that was really surprising about that place was the number of bars they had versus the number of bathrooms that they had. Yeah. So, like if you wanted to go to the bathroom, you were waiting. But if you
At the
wanted a
Cat?
beer, you could have one immediately at the Met. At the Met.
Oh, okay, at the Met. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing with theaters like that though. Like was it at Radio City? You had to run downstairs. Like a lot of yes, that is a little more grandiose there, but a lot of those older theaters like that, it's like 2 bathrooms. You know, it's like one on the second floor balcony and one in the basement or something. And it's like, yeah, like you said, you should have gone during Old Man's Boat. Composed.
I was getting
but
back in if I
you were
did.
you were stuck. Was it so? What was to segue to the crowd a little bit? Was it pretty packed? I mean, obviously sold out, but like, how did it feel in there in terms of space?
I mean, compared to the night before, it was spacious.
Oh,
Right.
Boston was packed.
Boston was
Awful.
massively packed.
Yeah, Boston was no good. In fact, like it reminded me of
much about those.
Lowell when I was at Lowell, where it was like so oversold that I was like concerned.
Oversold.
But no, it wasn't so bad. I think we kind of made the mistake of getting like way in the back of the pit. So I was there with Vickers, who's going to be on the pod tomorrow, which is like really, really exciting for everybody. But we kind of set up in the back long before the venue opened, and then it just kept filling in and filling in and filling in. So finally, like I was like trying to do the set list thread like this with my phone up by my face. So it was tight, but there were like less tight areas. We just didn't know where they were. So that's the deal there.
Mike and I didn't know that they were like pit seats there. Apparently they're like, because from all the pictures, if you look at seating diagrams or pictures, it's usually seats up to the front, but apparently they're all retractable depending on how big they want the pit to be. It can be floor all the way back or a couple dozen people in the front. So I was actually surprised that there was an open floor there to begin with. Thought it was all theater seating.
Yeah, and like the crazy thing is I was like sitting at that back rail and I was like all cramped up like this. And then if I just like looked over my shoulder, there's like a dude just like lounging in a chair. His like feet up. I was super jealous.
Yeah, I saw that. There's railings of the barricades basically prior to the seats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. Yeah, with the crush kind of in the back. That's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so bad in the end, but it was kind of funny, the contrast of like, you know, Vickers and I standing there like not able to move, and then like people behind us like with their feet up and they're sitting down in chairs and whatever.
Eating $10 popcorn. 9, sorry.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of stoked to go back
though.
to the venue tonight so I can get that popcorn. That is something that I'm looking forward to.
Maybe we'll see how much we eat at dinner.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we get another one? Oh yeah, baby.
Get one.
All right, so back to
the thatch.
Yep.
I loved the thatch. I think if we're going like, so you guys were saying Rockdale opener, great. Rockdale's a great closer. I don't know. I mean, thatch I feel like it hits hard as a closer. Like it'd be an interesting opener because it's almost like they haven't developed the energy of a set. But I think because they closed Denver. One of Goose sets, was it or no? I don't know if it's been as a set closer. Yeah, I was just trying to think of other shows where it's closed a set, but I thought it was a very like emphatic statement. Like they're playing these new songs, destroying them, lot of energy, and yeah, tons of energy, and I think it's a fun song, good lyrics. We're still learning them all. Who's Milo? Did we confirm who Milo is?
Yeah, I think that's all confirmed now. This is I forget that it's like a Disney movie. Milo is a character in a Disney movie, and the lyrics actually match it too.
Okay.
So Ryan knows every single word to every single song. Is what I learned.
Who?
Ryan.
Yeah, yes. He does.
Ryan absolutely does. So I think now is a good time where we can talk about how Ryan was over in the cool kids section and not with myself and Vickers.
You want to tell
even
the whole
though
story? That make you feel better?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to blow him up. I feel like he'll be sad. We'll just leave it at this. Ryan was supposed to be standing with me and Vickers. He encouraged me and Vickers to get pit seats, and then he decided to not stand in the pit with us because he was going to stand with you guys. So we'll just leave it at that. But
He's just letting you know
we'll
how he
forgive him.
feels, Neil.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to forgive him. But I'm gonna make him do the set list thread tonight. That's what he gets for that. So yeah, set break. I actually don't even really know what I did for set break. I kind of like walked around the venue and explored a little bit, but it felt reasonably short to me. I don't know how long it was actually in the end. Anything of note happened with you guys during set break?
Particularly longer set break. It looked like I'll have to look at the times. I thought this first set ended at like
9:22,
something like that.
or
Yeah.
10:22 locally for you. 10:20, and then they started at like no close to 11.
Oh, was it? I thought it ended around like 10:10, but I could be wrong.
10:10. Okay.
But yeah, we should explore more tonight if we can.
Okay.
Curious to see.
Well, they have like lots of
Go ahead.
food options there other than just the popcorn. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to check some stuff out tonight.
They have pretzels.
Soft pretzels,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
brown mustard, hopefully.
I feel like that mustard thing. I don't know.
You don't like mustard with your pretzel, Neil?
Nope. No, I don't.
All right. We're just trying to learn a little bit more about each other, you know. So what did you guys think of what's the size of the stage like for the light rig? Having looked at a couple of shots, looked great. The new rig looks great. I didn't see a ton of Roadrunner footage, so I can't compare, but it's the same, more or less the same set as the Cap too. Same stage setup, right? Light rig.
Same setup, but probably much bigger, I would guess.
The Met was okay.
Yeah. And I think Peter and Rick seemed like they actually commented on it like right before the opener.
Oh yeah,
about how
and
they
Jeff
farther away.
and Ben were on risers too.
Yeah.
Yep. So big stage. Okay.
Yeah, those rigs are totally sick. Totally awesome.
Definitely a much bigger stage than Roadrunner. I had like an awkward perspective at Roadrunner, so like I wasn't like kind of down on the floor, but like stood in a pretty similar spot to where I stood at the Cap, and kind of felt the same. But yeah, definitely felt like bigger, more wide open. Like we were talking about it. I don't know if this actually was on the pod yesterday or if we were talking about it before the pod. I thought the light rig may have been smaller because the stage looked so small at Roadrunner, but I don't know. From my perspective yesterday, it looked the same. So, but it was. I mean, the lights were amazing last night. There were like a couple different things that Getty was doing that was absolutely blowing my mind. I don't know if you guys like caught this at all, but there was like a few points where he was just like blasting yellow lights like on the crowd, and it just like felt like you were just like standing in sunshine. It was like the most amazing thing.
I love that feeling.
Outside of our seats last night, it was like we couldn't see like the lights in their entirety. Like I thought like with the front view of the lights, but
were you guys under something like the balcony a little or what?
Yeah, we were like just above the floor, like all the way like on Peter's side, like close to the stage.
Oh yeah, okay, kind of under. Yeah, it's always tough. Like I feel like, especially in those theaters, it's almost like being on like couch tour and seeing getting to view. I mean, obviously the stage setup in ways is pretty nice. Yeah, the lights look great, I thought, personally. So I was just curious. So we can proceed to set 2, Neil. I just wanted to continue a little rundown of the venue.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot more going on back there now. So like, I think in the old days, like we used to say like, oh, Getty's at the boards. Like we know like things are going to get started, but now there's like 4 or 5 people back there doing stuff like during a show. It's bananas. So like the crew is definitely expanding.
We were right behind them at the Cap, and I was just like mesmerized trying to figure out what they were doing.
Larian.
Yeah, it looks kind of fake, doesn't it? Like it makes you wonder actually how he does it. I'd love to actually like just watch for a minute because they're like pressing button, like I don't know, like does he have like one button that's just like green light spin? Like I mean, I don't know how he does it. But I do know he's got some pre-programmed stuff.
I was gonna wonder, if they had pre-programmed stuff and they just click like, oh, like Wisteria's on, so press this Wisteria button and like match it to the tempo.
Like, he's still like pressing during.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like triggers, like you said, because if you look at a lot of like the light rigs, obviously, and you get all the things to like, it's all like preset, right? But it's like the buttons that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what he likes. I think my understanding too, like having some friends that worked it, is you do have like a song that's more or less, that's like your template that you might use in like a song or something. And I think you can kind of set up, of course, but yeah, because they'll use, I agreed, like Echo, you get a lot of reds, and you have your red stuff, and then like kind of your purple, yeah, like Wisteria is like your purples and sort of other dark colors. And
Yep.
I noticed too, to finish, the thing I liked about Thatch, actually, last comment, was when they were peaking it at the end, he was rocking the G's along the track, like along the LED track. So that was pretty fun. Just a different use of it versus the bars last year and stuff like that. So it's just getting bigger, right? Their sound's getting bigger and their rigs getting bigger.
So before we like even talk about set 2, I think it's a good point to talk about. We were talking about use of light, and look who's here.
Let's go.
1 second.
Let's start from the beginning.
Hello.
Hey,
Take it from the top.
Rockdale, let's go.
Tempe, run it back. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, so I want to finish this thought before we move on. So when we had Rich Atkind on yesterday, he was talking about Getty's use of red light during Redbird. And I thought this was a really good time, since we're talking about the lights, to just thread in Rich Atkind here. And, since we're at the set break portion of, the day after show.
Seems like I arrived at the right time.
Yeah, I think you did. So far, I think we have more listeners than yesterday. So take that, Rich. And
I don't think we do.
How many did we have yesterday?
I think we had 28 yesterday. We're at 23 right now.
All right. So some tweeting will need to be done if we're going to beat Rich. So
Mike is rallying the troops.
Yeah, let me get one more push for second set too. I mean, it's the best part of it. It's going to be the best part of the show.
It's so many people are getting blocked. Brian rushed back here.
Yeah, I didn't want to get blocked. Quite honestly, that was the priority for me.
All right. So let's talk about the music. Oh shoot, I lost us here. Cool. All right. Second set. This one's going to be actually quick because we only have 4 songs to talk about, but one of them took up quite a bit of time. So Animal opener to start off the set, which, we've talked about a bunch. Animal, you can place it anywhere in a set, but kicking off a set, that is a great way to go. The crowd was already pretty much bought in at this point. I think we haven't talked about this much at all, but from the Rockdale on, everybody was absolutely locked in. The crowd was incredibly loud.
Such a
good crowd, right? Like such a different crowd than Boston.
Great crowd.
Yeah.
Philly shows up.
Yeah. So this Animal was like a match on gasoline. Like the place just like erupted. So absolutely killer version of that. And then after that, we get. Actually, do we want to stop and talk about Animal, or do we want to talk a little?
Animal.
You want to talk about Animal?
All
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about Animal a little bit. I think what I liked, because was it the Okeechobee one, right? That also kind of had a little bit more, like what we're seeing now with Animal, which is cool, is so we had 2 kind of some bigger jams last year that were okay, and then also just very composed sections of the song. I think they're kind of finding a little better space of being more efficient in it, but also varying the jams. Like the Okeechobee one was a little more bluesy and jazzy, and this one, like you said, had a lot more energy, a lot heavier. I liked it. Yeah, it's still a song I don't love, quote unquote, but I think the jams are getting a little bit stronger in it, and they're getting comfortable with it as well and finding out how to use it. It's a good way to bring.
I gotta look at the stats, but it seems like it's really like found a home as like a set opener, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think that is great placement for it. Last night felt like they really opened it up. The grooves felt like there was a ton of space. In no hurry, which was a theme of the jamming we saw. I don't know if you guys have talked about that.
Yep.
So I enjoyed it. It's phenomenal.
Nice.
Sweet.
His abdominals were working. We're getting spry for 2023.
Oh yeah.
We are getting spry for 2023. All right. So after Animal, we get Feel It Now for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I love this song. I love this song.
Holy shit.
And at this point, Micah was feeling her box of popcorn.
Yes.
We've talked about the popcorn a lot.
We talked. Okay,
Trust
good.
me.
I wanted to make sure that the popcorn got brought
I
up again.
love
That was
popcorn.
probably Micah's favorite part of the show last night.
It's it's a little things at a show. Anything can heighten your
It
experience.
wasn't a little box.
She's
of
saying-
popcorn.
she's
It's a pretty large box of popcorn.
Big
Next the
box.
show, and I am happy. Like Sam was bringing us chips from the green room in Boston, and I could not have been happier. Just give me snacks, and I'm happy.
There you go.
Michael knows.
Yeah.
That's why
No,
he
I
got her
think-
popcorn.
Feel It Now might be. This one has the potential to kind of like Thatch just to like jump in with a lot of jams, like a cool Peter song, great little grooves. Like I've listened to it 3 times already today, actually, just kind of very catchy and sort of has a lot of Trevor again. I mean, we're going to belabor the point. Like Trevor is just crushing again right now. And I love this song. I think it fit really well. And this segment as it goes into the next track is going to be a heavily listened 45 minutes of music for me.
Yeah, this thing, I mean, I love that it kind of starts off with like spotlight on Jeff, because we don't get enough spotlight on Jeff through stuff. But yeah, see, this song is fantastic, and it's just so exciting that they're writing music that like is great, right? So like we get this new song, we heard it for the first time at the Cap, weren't really sure how to feel about it, and then they play it again here, and I feel like it was at least like twice as good this time than it was at the Cap, but it could just be like attendance bias kind of a situation. But I absolutely
Do you feel it? Do you feel it now?
I was feeling it
Yeah.
last night, like big time. Vickers and I at this point were very excited.
Oh yes.
There was like a whole arc to this show. But like there's like high fives and like hugs and like I mean I don't know. How was it
The
for you
claws
guys?
were flowing. The claws were flowing, my friends.
Yeah, well, there were no beer second set. We like took it really easy. I
Neil-
think I was like
Neil's-
really smart last
Neil's
night.
got a routine going.
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
I gotta
Fruiting
poke.
bodies instead. Potent.
No.
We were having a great time. Feel it now. I was enjoying the space in our little area. I realized I don't think I've ever had that much space to dance at a show, like at least in a very long time.
And
So
you were using every inch of it.
I was. Thank you. I don't know if I was using it as well as RJ was, but I was moving. I was, a lot of opportunity.
But on the topic of Feel It Now, I feel like with that song and all the new ones they've really come out with this year and last year, and we know that's a ton of songs, obviously a lot of Dripfield stuff too. It seems like the fan base is like really quick to accept it. Like first time around, you're like, oh, that's really cool. By the time it's second or third time played, like it's part of the arsenal. Like,
Yeah,
and
everybody recognized it. Like it didn't seem like there was like a lull in the crowd when it's like, oh, we don't know what song this is. Like people were excited for Feel It Now, even though they had only played it once before. So it shows people are coming to these shows having listened to, and they're keeping up with what the band is doing. And so it's cool to hear a song like that. And obviously, the band is excited about playing this song. I really like the way that Peter put this song together. You can really hear his like Parcels influence all over this track.
I just haven't heard that before.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
it's true. And I love the way Rick's guitar lines in this song and the different rhythmic kind of things that they do. I'm a big fan.
Jab.
And I'm
A lot
looking
of
forward
jet, a lot of bongo.
to the versions. Feel It Now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a banger, right?
It is.
That's an exciting thing, right? Because I feel like as jam band fans, to what Michael was saying, sometimes new music gets introduced
That's
and
like
people get very upset.
Yeah.
Like, not the case here. Absolutely killer. But all right, so
it's time.
it's time.
It's time.
We have to talk.
We've made
about
it 30 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then
Without
I think we
mentioning
can do
its
another
name.
30 talking about this one.
Yeah.
We will on our next big tour recap episode. There will probably be like 45 minutes talking about this jam. So
As we
So-
critique
knowing
it.
us.
Mike and Michael, what did you think of this Echo of a Rose?
That, I mean, I texted my mom this morning that was maybe the best jam I've seen them do live.
Nice.
Ooh. You sound very sure of yourself when you say that.
I mean, I'm not the most decisive on these things, but
That's fair.
it was sick.
Nice.
That's-
Michael, what about you?
The takeaway I typically have from like jams like this, like whether it's Goose, Fish, really any like jam band, is that like I'll love the show, like I'll really be in it, but it's usually like after the jam is over, after the show is over, where I'm like, oh, like that was an amazing jam. This jam last night, Echo of a Rose, is probably one of only 2 times where I can remember where during the actual jam, I'm like, okay, like this is the other one being Alfreda Tweezer, which I know that Ryan has his feelings on. But yeah, anyway, point being though is that like it was such a patient buildup, I thought, with Echo, and we were talking about earlier with Rockdale, like just the theme is patience. And
yeah, Neil and I were listening to this this morning. We were just marveling at like just how they just kind of left the jam to develop on its own. Like normally, what I've said this to Neil a bunch and a couple other people I talked to today. Like in a lot of Goose jams, they start off in the jam. It's very purposeful. They're like pushing. It's very aggressive. This jam, it just felt like they started the jam. They laid back in the groove and they just waited for an idea to pop up. And it was really cool because that shows like they're committing to finding new ways to improvise and finding new spaces. And like, I mean, you're going to articulate it better than me. So I'll leave it for you because, you had this idea. But I want to highlight what Peter was doing in this jam. He's got, that segment towards the end, like when they're starting that final dark buildup, when he's on the organ and he's playing with his reverb pedal. And you may hear that sounds like he's pitch bending the organ. It's like it's an effect on the reverb pedal that like kind of warbles it a little bit. And it sounded really cool last night. And also this jam is notable because it's the only time Peter played guitar last night. You told
me he didn't.
I know. So Micah told me during the jam that Peter was playing guitar, and I told her she was being ridiculous.
I was so lost in it. I did not notice that he touched the guitar at all during that.
I didn't either.
I heard it for sure. Yeah, it was like. Now, did you guys leading throughout the show? Was it like, or after set 1? It's like he hasn't touched his guitar.
Yeah,
like kind of having that realization. Yeah.
I don't notice stuff like that at shows. I guess
yeah, I was gonna say
like in the moment. But
Ryan knew, but Neil, yeah.
Well, no, Micah knew. Ryan did not know. Let's be clear about that.
Micah was the one that noticed that he was playing guitar, and I, being at the show and who could have seen if I had looked hard enough, told her that she was wrong.
Uh-huh.
So, I think it was after the set when I was like, Peter didn't play guitar all night, and you were like, no, he played it during Echo, and I was like, what are you talking about? He didn't pick up the guitar. Which he didn't.
He didn't pick up the guitar.
But it was really good multitasking, a little fretboard tapping while playing piano, add some nice textures. But Neil, you had a really good take on this jam this morning.
What's funny is like I was gonna drop into that take, but all I can think about now is like Madison Huvan's picture of like Peter petting a puppy.
The beagle.
Have you guys
if anybody listening to this after the fact or watching this now would like to know what we're talking about, go to @MadisonHuvan on Twitter and find the edited photo of Peter petting a beagle.
Petting a little cute beagle. It's adorable. But no, so back to the jam. What I really liked about this jam was that they added like a tiny bit of tension like every bar for a really, really long time. It was almost like kind of like, putting like droplets of water in a glass until it like eventually overflowed. But the whole time you're just like, kind of like, when's it going to happen? And at the end, it like, I don't know. It was like really interesting tension because I feel like sometimes that can be frustrating or like exhausting where you're like, all right, when are they going to finally peak? But it was just, I feel like I articulated it better this morning, but like they absolutely blew my mind. They were so slow to get there. And the whole approach to, the eventual peak in this jam was just, it was spectacular. I mean, you already were talking about like Peter's organ work. I mean, there was like all kinds of like things sonically happening in this jam that eventually got them to this one place. And it's, it's the beauty of improvisational music. Sometimes everything just lines up just perfect. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that what was happening in this jam.
To paraphrase Bob Weir, just exactly perfect.
It's
For
funny.
anyone who gets that reference.
We were joking at set break, Michael and I, and I was saying we were just gonna do a whole half hour on this podcast about New Haven Tweezer. And so, while this jam didn't have the efficiency of the New Haven Tweezer, it actually towards the end there got me excited, I guess, in a similar way, where it had that whole chugging thing where it was just gonna absolutely erupt and similar, not to belabor fish comparisons, but we got to do it every once in a while.
It happens.
Can we also talk about has there ever been a quicker turnaround time to actually get the video footage of that jam up? Obviously,
we were talking about this last night.
Yeah, before we went to bed last night, he was like, that's one of those jams. Peter's on the bus right now, or at the venue. He's getting the video ready to drop first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so he did this before. He did this when they played State Theater in Portland. What was that, 2021 now?
Yeah, 10/28/21.
Yeah, so the drive that they played at that show, I was also at that show.
Yeah.
Very, very good drive.
That was a good one. While we're on that topic, before that show had been there's going to be a 27-minute drive tonight, and then they played a 27-minute drive. Yeah. But anyway.
So I think Peter was so excited about that drive that before he even went to bed, it was 3:00 in the morning, it dropped on YouTube. And so we were talking about this Echo last night, and I was like, he's totally going to drop the video tonight. And Ryan's like, I don't know, maybe. And then sure enough, before we went to bed.
I like to doubt you.
Yeah, right? It was before we went to bed, or was it?
No, it was this morning. It was this morning.
Yeah. I think they did the All I Need from the Cap the first night. That was right away too.
Well,
right away. It's great. This same thing. I'm once again belaboring the point. For me, it was a lot of just Trevor, his the effect he was using in this is just it was a rubber band, and he kind of is in these little lines right now where he'll sort of work around a chord structure, it seems but just kind of looping these different sort of patterns, and just giving Rick and obviously everybody a good platform, the foundation he's creating in the pocket, just next to none. And that just pushed the jam for me kind of throughout, just gave them the space to keep going and driving and build the tension, like you said, Neil, where I know what you mean, the frustration. There's not, some 30-minute jams can feel long, right? Or exhausting, or it seems even longer. I think that one almost seems shorter. It's a very well packaged 30 minutes of music that doesn't feel like it, but all of a sudden you're like, whoa, how long was that?
All of a sudden they're scrapping half of the set.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Songs off the set list.
It does make me wonder. Ryan and I were talking about that this morning. So if you look at the written set list for this show, they left behind, was it Your Ocean, Rosewood Heart,
I have it right here. Yeah, it was Echo Over Rose, Rosewood, My Scanata, Ocean, Madhuvan was supposed to be. So 4, and then they played Turn Clouds instead.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't play all those songs. That's too many songs.
That was what I was getting at, which is Ryan and I were talking about it. There's no way they intended to play all of those songs. They simply couldn't have. It had to be
maybe just a list.
A list of you just got to pull from the bag. You feeling Rosewood right now, or are you feeling
Madhuvan?
Yeah.
That's true. I'm feeling.
But yeah, I mean, it was really funny because as soon as they started Clouds, I turned around and went to the bathroom. I had been holding it. Sam Ray was very upset that I went to the bathroom at the beginning of Turn Clouds, which was a funny moment. But I was singing along.
Good though.
Yeah. No, it's strategic, and I mean, you can still the bathrooms at the Met. They're much nicer than the bathrooms at the Cap.
We
a lot more
that.
space. Okay, good. That was covered the bathroom talk. Okay, good. It's a relevant topic.
Yeah,
it came up.
We touched it.
But yeah, you
hopefully
can still
not
hear
other
what's
ones
going on from in there. I was singing along, so it was good.
That Turn Clouds is really good.
It was a great Turn Clouds. The crowd ate it up. There was I think. Normally, when you see Turn Clouds in the second set, there might be a bit of a dip in energy. It felt like the first part of Turn Clouds allowed the crowd to okay, we're going to catch our breath after that 28-minute echo that was ridiculous. And then by the time Rick and Peter's solos happened, everyone was just, back in it, and great way to close that set.
Totally.
Look around this city.
Peter was out of his mind on the organ solo.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell like he was just really excited like throughout the night. But that whole second set, I mean, that's like a killer set for Peter.
Really?
If you think about like all of the things that happened over the course of that set, I could see why he was just like amped to get some of that music out there this morning.
And then the encore.
We will eat it up.
Yeah. Then Mr. Action Encore. Right.
So very surprising placement.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking a lot today about like I really liked this in the encore slot. You know, when it started, I was like, okay, Mr. Action, the encore, interesting. But I think it was a great pick for it. I've now seen 3 out of 4 Mr. Actions.
I think it's a cool song.
Yeah.
It was fun in
Now-
Cincinnati with the darkness pairing, which I
Mhm.
like.
That was good. What did you guys think of the encore?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Definitely a interesting placement for it, but I think we got it at the cap. I think on the Saturday show, and I mean, I love it. Again, example of just a song that they debuted. Did they debut it in Cincinnati or at Goose Miss? Like
At Boulder, at the Fox.
at Boulder. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago, like not too long ago, and everyone's eating it up already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting song because I think it very easily like if they didn't kind of work on delivery of that song, it could be like a throwaway mid-set song,
Mhm.
and it's not.
No,
And
it's
it
a
wasn't
great
last
song.
night. I was like, at first when they started playing, I was like, I don't know if this is going to go over well, and it did. It hit. But back to what you were saying, I think what we were seeing last night, and then Vickers and I talked about this a lot during the show, is Goose shows feel a little bit different in 2023 right now because of the kind of venues that they're playing in
Mhm.
than they did in 2022, right? So when you go to, for example, Red Rocks or Radio City Music Hall, there's a couple thousand people seeing their first Goose show at those shows.
Right.
It's like a guarantee,
Right.
Like mathematically,
Right.
there's
yeah,
no
exactly.
other way it can work.
Right.
But like this show last night, like folks knew these songs.
Mhm.
Like Mr. Action, not even like a 4-month-old song at this point.
Yeah.
And
Same
folks
thing
were,
with Feel It Now. Like people know what's going on.
yeah.
Paige Caruso did give a report from the mezzanine where she said that there were a lot of people around her who had no idea what was going on and kept asking her what the song was going on. But it felt like people knew it. And like Goose hasn't played like a really long tour like this. They played 14 shows in October for the fall tour, but they haven't done a really extensive tour in a while. And these 20 something dates it's really like you don't have a super high profile run like Red Rocks or Radio City, like you said. Some of the obviously fall we've talked about a lot with when Peter said like they had a lot of eyes on them, and this was in the immediate aftermath. Trey sitting in, they're about to be on tour with Tab in November. Now I feel like they're able to settle back in again. People who love Goose are going to these shows. It's not as many like here's a big deal event where there's going to be a lot of new people coming in. So it's nice to have that kind of crowd. And I'm very much looking forward to tonight.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be
Love
good.
it.
It's gonna be good.
Playing Danny.
Any predictions?
Madhavan,
Giant Madhavan.
giant, just large,
Yeah.
hefty
Yeah.
Madhavan.
I hope you like
Okay,
25
10
minutes.
pounder.
27.
I do.
10-pounder, for sure.
Someone on Twitter today said 31-minute Madhavan. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Micah, what about you? What are you hoping here tonight?
I also Madhavan, and then on the other end of the spectrum, I've had this like feeling that I'm getting a honeybee this weekend, which
Yep.
I will be in the bathroom. It's lovely.
It's her
It
favorite
just-
song.
It's yeah.
You love it. That's
I
great.
love it.
That's nice. Lead the way. Hopefully, I'm still chasing that. Obviously, a Moby. We can predict all day. I got a nice goose egg in fantasy last night, hoping that doesn't happen again tonight.
Yeah,
but
that's all
it's
right.
gonna be a fun show. It's gonna be great.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
going to be good. Not
Yeah.
alone. I think we'll
Yeah,
see
yeah.
a little maybe another not alone.
Not Alone or
tonight,
Lead Up,
another
yeah.
new song tonight. Yeah.
And we'll have more popcorn.
And we'll have more
Oh,
popcorn.
Micah will be having popcorn. You can
Everybody,
make it like that.
get the popcorn. You heard it.
That's the thing. It's just gonna like live on. Like
Show
it should have been on
popcorn.
like the poster or like the show shirt, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Like there's just like nothing that makes me happier when there's like nice music playing and I'm dancing with a box of popcorn.
Oh right, we didn't talk about the mustache.
There's no mustache happening. I not growing a mustache.
So-
D is growing a mustache for me, actually.
Nobody asked
It's
your opinion
beautiful.
on this. Ryan,
It's
Here,
it's
just
my
take it.
theoretical mustache. I should get to talk about it.
oh man! All right, I think that's a good way to end it right
Yes.
here. Check in tomorrow, 3:30, where we will go more in depth about Ryan's mustache.
And there will be a 902 Vickers face reveal on the pod.
Yeah, and we have
Nice.
RJ.
It's a big deal. And
From
RJ will be
Osiris.
here tomorrow. It's going to be another great episode. We'll see what kind of shape I'm in terms of coherence and being awake.
Good luck. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be there.
Thank you. You're not going to be
I
there.
don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But we'll be back here tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, as always. Thank you, Micah and Michael,
guys
for
are the
being
best.
on today. We will see you shortly for the show tonight.
See you later.
You guys have fun tonight. Be safe.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening, and we'll see you next